Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Timone Show. I'm your host Timone, here with my guest today, Zach. How you doing today, Zach?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Doing all right, man. Zach is from our northern neighbors up here in Canada,
That's
Toronto.
it.
Are you live in Toronto or somewhere in the like what city?
I live in a little town. Well, I guess it's not a little town anymore. When I was growing up, it was small. It's called Milton. It's about um, maybe half an hour west if you're driving. But it's a city now. It's when I was a kid, it was 20,000, and it's now 120,000 people. So,
Oh shit,
uh,
hell yeah, man.
it's to somebody who's grown up here, it just feels everything in the middle of town still seems the same, so it still feels the same. But then you hit Monday morning traffic, and you're like, oh, wait a minute.
See, like my city's always stayed about the same in population, even with the gentrification in Chicago, where like a lot of people in Chicago were forced to move out of their, and then they were forced to move out, and then they started moving into the surrounding areas that weren't like rich as hell. Like there's a lot of surrounding Chicago suburbs that fucking cost a lot of money to live in, but then there's some like Joliet where it's like a shithole. It's a shithole, but it's still expensive to live there. It's kind of weird. And then and then like a lot of them would just move out here and it's like an hour and a half of drive away or whatever, and then Rockford went crazy for like a whole like 3 years. That's where I live in Rockford, Illinois. And
Right.
they went crazy for like 3 fucking years. We were like, oh no, we're gonna get all this crime in Chicago. We're opening up new projects, and we're gonna get all Chicago crime. And like people were freaking out. It was all like, dude, like we already have Chicago crime. We're just like, we just get the fuck out
Nobody
of here.
knows. That's that happened too. It just skyrocketed the price of all the houses where people I went to high school with, the smart ones, uh, bought something or got a loan from their parents right when they graduated, and that's when the town really started developing. And now, 15 years later, um, houses that were 187 or 195 grand to buy brand new sell for $700,000,
Fuck.
and people here, I mean, I don't know where they're getting the money, but it's pushed a lot of the original. I mean, my age, people who can't afford it and have had to move further south of the city or further west of the city to be able to afford a house. While
Damn, you guys are getting gentrified too. Fuck.
it came pretty quick. It came pretty quick. There was I moved out of this town in 2003, and there was 45,000 people. And when I moved back in 2010, there was 100,000 people. So 7 years. Um,
Dude, if I was one of the older people that lived there, or just like someone that lived there that already had their house like all bought and paid for, I would have sold fucking quick and move somewhere else, man. If I could get on that fucking bankroll.
and that's what people have been doing. Everybody except my stubborn ass parents. I tell you, they don't want to move. They're just sitting pretty with their actual backyard. That's the thing. These houses that have gone up in this town have like 30 by 80-foot lots, and the houses take up most of it. There's no yard. There's no grass. It's just tiny little lots where you can put a kiddie pool in the backyard for your family, and that's it. Whereas my parents in the old side of town have, proper yards where when we were kids growing up, we could actually throw the baseball around.
Yeah,
And
everywhere I grew up, we had yards. Where I live right here, I live in a little suburb of Rockford called McChesney Park. We all have yards here. But if I go like a block, like, because I guess this neighborhood that I live in was all designed like the yards all had like wells and septic tanks and shit still.
right.
So then all that shit got removed. We still have our giant yards. But then if I go down like just another town over to Loves Park, like literally just like fucking crossing the street, like they don't have yards, or they don't have like the giant yards that we have, and or and it's weird. It's like everywhere I grew up in Rockford had yards, but then my old neighborhood in downtown, Like nobody had a decent yard. Like they had like maybe like what you were saying, like enough room to put in a little kiddie pool and just fucking tie your dog up or whatever.
Yeah, and
And
about
then, but the house that I lived in, it was this awesome, sweet house. You're gonna fucking shit your pants. Um, it was 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, fucking $760 a month to live there, and then I had a huge fucking yard, dude. Like it was the only yard on no, there was 2 yards on the entire. There were 2 houses on the entire block that had yards, and mine was one of them. The yard was so fucking huge. I had like bonfires every night. Uh, I let a homeless dude set up a tent in my yard, and he
right up.
just lived in the corner of my yard, and he was awesome, dude. He picked up my dog shit and stuff for me. He took out my garbage and my recycling on garbage day. I was like, dude, Billy Ray, you can live here for free anytime you want. My brother lives there now, dude. He has a fucking camper that just chills in the yard. Uh,
These things you take it granted for when you were a kid. The yard,
yeah,
it,
absolutely.
you grow up and say, I wish I had that space now.
Oh, dude,
My
like being a kid, dude, you are at home all the time, rent free. All your friends can come over and kick it whenever they want, damn near. And then you're an adult and you have no time to kick it. You fucking pay to live somewhere where you're barely at, and you're fucking miserable. It's
and you
like
tell your
fuck,
friends they
dude.
got to bring their own stuff if they want to come over. Yeah, sure, come over. Bring your own snacks. I got nothing for you. I'm paying rent.
Aaron,
My
get out of here. Go.
my girlfriend and I live in a basement apartment, which is beautiful, but it's $950 a month, and that's a really good price for where we are. I mean that's in utilities included, and the average for what we have here is more like 1,200 plus utilities. But we just happen to luck out and find this really nice place, and it's you think back to when I first started renting. When I first moved out, I rented a house that was a full upstairs and downstairs, 3 bedrooms, and it was in a small town, and I paid $750 a month rent for the whole place,
That's
and
what
now
I'm
I'm
saying.
in
Like
a basement for
that house I
$200.
had was the cheapest place I lived. Well, I've been staying in apartments. Like when I first, the second time I moved out of my parents' house, I moved into this apartment with a friend of mine, and we were paying like $650 a month. But this apartment was actually pretty nice. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. So it had upstairs, downstairs, and a basement. It was actually pretty nice. But then like when I tried to like I had to go through a whole bunch of shit with my landlord. My landlord sucked ass. That's one of the reasons I was moving out, because like anytime we had some problems, they would just half-ass it. And then there was
Right.
one time I had to do my own plumbing, and she wouldn't give me a discount on rent for having to do my own plumbing in the kitchen. And I was like, no, I'm done with this place.
That's the key, right? Cheap rents will lead to a crummy landlord who's not going to do anything
Yeah.
until you threaten to get the law involved or something.
And then like 4 months after I moved out, the place got bought out by someone else, but then they jacked up the rent like $200.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
I was like, dude, that place is awesome, but it wouldn't have been awesome for like even if the landlord was awesome and like took care of everything, it wouldn't have been worth the extra 200 a month.
right. Adulting sucks, man. It's so expensive.
and, and then I moved into another apartment. This apartment was pretty sweet too. I had the bigger bedroom because I moved in with another roommate. I had the bigger bedroom. He wanted the smaller one for some reason too, and I was like, why, dude? You got kids. You should have the bigger one. But he wanted the smaller one, and then I took the bigger one, and then outside of the bigger one, it was like this small little like 5x5 fucking little like patio on the upstairs, and I would go out there and chill all the time. Like I'd set up a chair and like open up the door or whatever if it was storming, and I would just watch storms and whatever, smoke a blunt, and
Nice little
have a
smoke.
good time. And then I moved out of that place, and then the landlord accused me of fucking stealing the ceiling fan. And I was like, dude, I never even had a ceiling fan to begin with. I told you to put one in, and you never did.
Oh, that sounds like you. Just move out of a place and take a ceiling fan.
Yeah, it was like, dude, like I know you might be. I might. Most of your tenants might have this type of fucking like junky like crackhead material where they just fucking steal whatever they fucking find. But no, dude, I'm not that guy, dude. I was always paying them like a month in advance, and I was like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Literally bolted down. I'm not gonna take it.
Like,
Oh man, I've got so many horror stories of rentals in my adult life, and it's nice to be in a place finally where the landlord messages me if I need to change the filter in the furnace, and that's about all I get. Can you change the filter? Yeah, I can do that. All right, cool. I'll see you at rent day. Perfect. Bye.
yeah.
And every once in a while, his mom lives with him upstairs. It's a young Korean couple, and the guy's mom lives there. And we'll get a knock on the door. She'll be there with like a big plate of food she just made. It's like, oh, yes. I'm
Like
never
fucking
moving.
Luke Cage and shit, dude. Like living above the Asian restaurant and then
It's
getting hooked up.
it's perfect. I never knew I liked noodles so much. And
Oh, dude, especially if they're fucking just hooked up and they're like, they taste like some home like some cuisine or whatever, or like some like homemade cuisine or whatever. A fucking hit, dude. I couldn't talk right.
I feel that.
I hope you have plenty of weed with you because we get high during this show.
Yeah. So the thing is, the one bad thing about this place is that I can't blaze inside, but that's fine. I make up for it when I'm out,
Yeah,
and it's a necessity for my life with my Crohn's. It really helps keep things under control. I don't get too many flare ups, but when I do, it's really the only thing that helps with the pain. So. And it's pretty easy to get your hands on up here.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Um,
Prices out here have been dropping like crazy. Like back, uh, damn, it's almost 5 years ago now. No, yeah, back on 5 years ago, back when I got arrested for selling weed, I was buying like a QP for like a grand to like 1200 ish. But
that's
now I can get one for like half that price for like $500. And I was like,
it's 650 about Canadian for good quality stuff where I live for that amount. But I have a buddy actually. I was with him last night. Um, he's a big sports freak, huge sports fan. Loves the professional leagues, loves the college leagues too, and he works for a hotel chain. He can stay. It's a really nice chain. I don't remember the name of it, but they have resorts all over the place, and basically he can stay for $50 a night at any of these places. So the week before March Madness started, he went down to Orlando, Florida, to watch all I guess the pre Madness college games. They were hosting a bunch of them in Orlando, so he stayed at that resort, and he said that it took him. He was there for 6 days. It took him 4 days to finally find somebody to buy weed off of in Orlando, and he said it was the sketchiest experience of his life. He had to get
oh
in a
yeah,
car.
dude. Like
But
if you don't know anybody and you're just out somewhere in some strange area by yourself, yeah, it's like hard and it's sketchy. Like
and he paid $50 for 2 grams. He said, and it was garbage, but he was so happy to have it, and so
I
happy to
think
be alive.
Florida is one of the more expensive states too for like just street shit too. If I paid $50, I'd better get a fucking like quarter ounce or close enough to that.
Sure, yeah.
I
And I don't
bet
know anything about prices in the states. I mean, I'm well versed on what things cost up here, but
that's if I'm paying $50, I better get close to a fucking quarter ounce.
yeah, yeah,
I'd be happy with like especially from a stranger. I'd be like more than happy with fucking $5 or $10 a gram. I'd be like woohoo, but like if I was to just get like whatever, just like that, whatever little bit he got for $50, I'd be like, no deal, dude. I'll give me that for 30 or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I think it was more like 30 or 40, but he gave the guy like $10 for not shooting him. I don't know what the real situation was, but he said he had to literally go across some tracks, and the guy who he was in the car with, he was like, look, things might, this is a rough area, and he said, I'm strapped, but I'm not, it's not to use it, it's just for protection. And he's like, all right, well, let's get this over with as quick as possible, because I want to go to a basketball game with no holes in my body that I didn't enter with. So um, I couldn't believe that price. He, just to me, it would not be worth it. And he doesn't use it for medical reasons. I do use for medical reasons, and I would still say, I'm just going to hang out in the hotel. I don't think I'll be venturing outside to look for something like that,
Yeah.
knowing that's the situation that you're going to possibly find yourself in. So yeah, but he's kind of fearless slash unintelligent when it comes comes to real life street situations.
I got a funny Florida story. So after I came back from Florida the first time, my brother, I have an older brother, his friends were asking me, because I mentioned how, like, 'cause I came back with like some souvenirs. They're like, how'd you come back with souvenirs? Who gave you money? I was like, dude, my parents gave me money. And
Right,
like my parents are divorced, so like, but combined, they both gave me money combined for like my trip to. I was gonna be out there for a month, so like, yeah, I'm gonna need some money. But I was like 10 and 11. I was like 10 to 12 years old, so it was like I can't really do much, but like I was gonna be doing some shit, you know.
right.
So I came back and I was completely broke, and they're all like, "How'd you fucking spend all that money, dude?" Blah blah. I was like, "I was out there for a month, dude. What the fuck?" They was all like, "Man, we could have fucking supplied you with some shit, man. You could have came back with like 1,200." I was like, "Dude, I'm fucking 10. I don't know how to sell weed to strangers in Florida. You know, like." Like, get the fuck out of here, because that was pre 9/11, so where you could fly, you could fucking have whatever, you could just do whatever the fuck you wanted on an airplane.
Yeah, but once you get there, what's going to happen? Like, you might not have come back at all.
I'm saying, like,
People always have great ideas.
yeah,
Money making
and like,
scheme.
even as they came up to me with that idea before I left, I was like, no, you guys are retarded, dude. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Thought you were my friends.
No, they were my brother's friends, so
Oh,
they didn't give a fuck.
oh, we're trying to expand our brand into Florida, so you're going to make a trip every 3 months.
I'm like, people in Florida aren't gonna buy this fucking, because everyone was smoking Reggie back then. Like, no one's gonna buy this fucking shitty fucking Rockford Reggie, you know? Like, they got the fucking good Cuban shit, you know? Like, get the fuck out of here.
I'll tell you, man, the difference between the quality of product now as opposed to 15 years ago is it's mind blowing, really. If you, I mean, if you're a younger person now in their early 20s, and you didn't experience that kind of stuff, and I know it sounds like an old guy talking, because I show my parents some of the stuff that I have. My parents are old hippies. My dad will be 70 this year, but they were legit like stoner hippies that drove around in a Volkswagen van painted like a watermelon. They said, "Oh, let me see what you're smoking." Oh my
Yeah.
God, no sticks. There's no twigs. There's no seeds in it. No, this is proper stuff.
So,
And
so
when we were in high school,
here's
I heard
something
it.
that's crazy though. In the years like 1999 to about 2003 to 2004 ish,
Yeah,
maybe even 2005, the Reggie was amazing. It was actually pretty good. And then somewhere like after 2005, it just started to get really bad, and like nobody knew what happened. And it was cheap too. And then like the better it was, the cheaper it was. Like I remember buying quarters for like $15 or whatever, or buying a whole ounce for $45 or whatever, and it was like always really good shit. And then or not like good, like because uh, you could still buy like fucking dro and stuff back then too, but it was always like $90 a quarter or like $45 an eighth, which it kind of still is now, depending on where you're at. But it
But the
wasn't
garbage,
nearly as good as
right?
it is now. And now the Reggie is way worse, and then it's more expensive than it used to be. And then the good shit is way better, and it's way cheaper than it used to be. I like the way that's working. It's getting
It's
more people. It's convincing more people to get to buy good stuff.
well, and as the laws are changing around your nation, and even up here in Canada, it's not as free flowing as some media would have you believe. It's still, you get in trouble with it if you're not in the right areas. I mean,
Oh
some
yeah,
places
absolutely.
are different than others, but as it's become more acceptable, and the use of cannabis for medical is becoming a more legit business. The quality now people really want that quality, and a lot of people are putting so much money into the development of good strains and of proper grooming, and for a while there it spiked the prices of that good stuff, but now it's kind of industry standard. So everybody's expected, if you're going to be able to sell it to those legal clinics where everything's on the up and up, and you're going to be raking in tax dollars. There's almost like a higher expectation amongst people who honestly are just getting into it for the first time. Even maybe 3 or 4 years, they're in their mid 30s or early 40s, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna it's legal now, so I'm gonna try it. But they want the best right out of the gate. It's like, hey, you never had to deal with the crap. You never had to wait, an hour for a guy to bring you $20 worth of sticks and and seeds when you're 15 years old, just hoping to get a little buzz, and that bag would last you and your buddies all weekend.
Oh yeah, man. I remember. No, I'm not gonna tell this story. Never mind. I'll tell it to you off the air because it's
Okay.
it's too wild. It's,
Yep.
it'll make me seem like I'm a fucking maniac.
I mean, we should change the subject anyways, because I'm starting to feel like I need to go outside. I don't want to break up this interview.
Oh man. All right. Why Iron Man is better than I mean, why War Machine is better than Iron Man? And I'm gonna grab my War Machine action figure and play with him. Well,
Well, this is going to sound very, I guess, un-Canadian of me, but in this case, more guns is better, right? It just makes sense. I think I think Rhodey's just, if we're talking Rhodey, I think he's just you know, a cooler guy, not an arrogant piece of.
Rhodey was Iron Man for a while, dude. I have the books when it was when Rhodey was Iron Man for a few issues.
Yeah, I bet he missed his old suit.
Well, I think the Tony Stark might have been in rehab or just doing some alcoholic shit, and Iron Man still. And I don't know if he was outed as Iron Man yet, so Iron Man still needed to be around.
Oh, right, yeah. He I don't know. There's always been something. Uh, I'm much more drawn to that design of the suit, and I mean, that shoulder cannon just gets you, right. It's just, he looks more badass. You feel like he can do more, even if that might not be the case. And even in the movie version, he's kind of unreluctantly pulled into it, but then he really takes hold of that character,
Yeah,
and that position, and you like him better. His attitude, he just feels like he's not talking down to you.
who
Like
did you
if
who
you
did you like better, Terrence Howard or Don Cheadle?
I like Terrence Howard as an actor a lot, and I really liked him. But Don Cheadle is one of my favorite actors, and I his sarcastic wit and his facial expressions. He really he's one of those top actors for me. So I'm not usually down for the second actor to play the same character in a movie series, but I really like Cheadle. So I think he's him and Robert Downey have an amazing chemistry on screen. So I like that.
I think Terrence wanted to come back, but I think they're like something happened with like there was like a purposefully miscommunication against him to where they didn't want to bring him back or some shit like that. But I think I think I heard somewhere that he did want to come back as that role.
Yeah, I heard something where
Because I also heard that he helped Robert Downey Jr. get the role of Tony Stark because Terrence Howard was already cast as Rhodey, and then they're all like, "We need a Tony Stark," and like, and he's all like, and he was good friends with Robert Downey Jr. and he's all like, "Give this dude a shot." There and like nobody wanted to at the time because he was, like he was kind of like the Charlie Sheen or whatever, where he was just a wild card. You didn't know what to expect from him, and then he ended up just blowing it away. And like I knew right away as soon as I heard fucking Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Iron Man, I was all like, yeah, dude, he looks just like Tony Stark, and he's a fucking alcoholic playboy, dude. It's fucking that's typecasting right there, like.
yeah, and it was I think Sam Rockwell was like the favorite at that point before Tony came in, and again one of those actors who I feel is really underrated and nails everything that he does. He would have been great. He would have been great as Tony Stark, but Robert is just it was a perfect fit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then they threw him that bone. They threw Sam Rockwell that bone of being a Hammer in the second movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I love watching him on screen. I wish there was more to him for in the MCU for him, or even in DC. Like I want to see him in superhero movies more because I think he's
like Hammer Industries is like a big deal in the comics, like even when they're like not rivaling against Stark Industries, they still do their own shit, like
yeah,
because you never see fucking Stark going against Osborn when they basically do the same, or Oscorp when they do the same shit as Stark Industries does, is make advanced weaponry and it gets hold of by bad guys and fucking
yeah. I would like more into the Hammer Industries, but and I think they should bring Rockwell back if they do that. But the way that this universe is going right now, I don't see a lot of space in it for another tech corporation to make any sense in the script. Just they got so much on their plate right now with this new movie coming and the one to follow. Which I'm excited for. Like that most recent trailer for Infinity War is.
I haven't watched it yet. Me and Nasser were talking on our latest episode how we don't watch a lot of trailers because then when I watch a movie or I'm watching movie reviews,
you're waiting for the scene.
No, I'm not that.
No?
When I read the comments and shit later, when everyone's bitching like most of that fucking shit was in the trailer and blah 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 blah. I'll be like, dude, fuck off, dude. Then don't watch the trailer. Then if you're gonna be fucking mad, like, what? You know when the movie's coming out, you're gonna watch the movie. Don't watch the fucking trailer if you're gonna be mad about fucking all the movie. And there is some things I do like about trailers is when they show a scene and it ends up not being in the movie. That's the stuff I do like. And I
like that too. I find that really interesting. It gets my mind working as to why they felt if they just put it in the trailer because they knew it was an outlandish scene or something to really grab the attention, or was that intended to be in the movie and it got cut near the end for some other reason? Give me those stories too. I want to know about that scene because that scene was really cool. I have a friend who doesn't watch trailers for any movies that he's excited about, and I wish I had that self control, but I don't. So many people they come out, they're all over so many people's feeds on Facebook. I'm at work. I got 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and like, yeah, I'm watching it. I can't hold it. Let me see it. I want to see explosions. I want to see these actors, and especially with this most recent trailer, there's just everybody's in it. You know, everybody from the excellent Marvel movies that have come in the past 5, 6, 7 years to the
10
ones
years,
that
man.
not so fond of. You're still like, oh, at least they're all together, and
This movie
and
is the 10th year anniversary of fucking Marvel.
of the first Captain America movie there, the first Avenger.
The first Iron Man movie.
Oh right, yep. That's
2008, baby.
where was I? Oh God, 2000. If I knew half of what I know now in 2008, my life would probably be a lot different. But the one thing that's for sure is I didn't foresee this many movies coming my way 10 years ago in this universe, and it being such a world changing phenomenon.
We thought we were just gonna like lead up to the Avengers, and then that was gonna be it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can't wait to see Thor and Captain America together. That's going to be the pinnacle of my movie going experience as a comic book fan. Oh, Thanos is coming. Oh well, then back that up.
Well, fuck.
Give me every side character that nobody
And we thought Thanos was
actually.
coming in the next Avengers movie, dude. And then it was like, oh, what? Ultron? What the fuck are you doing to us?
Which gets crapped on, but I love James Spader, so I think
The
I thought
Ultron
that.
character was fun. It was just a shit movie. Like all the characters were great. It was just a
Yeah,
shit movie.
agreed.
That's not. That's like, and that was with a lot of the Marvel movies are like that. Like the movies themselves aren't necessarily great, but the characters play them. The characters play the characters so or the actors play the characters so well that you just can't help but if I can get attached to them and like want to follow their journey.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta say one of my top Marvel movies is Doctor Strange, and I understand there's people have their issues about it. Oh, it's a ripoff of this. It's a ripoff of that. It's Matrix. It's sure, but Cumberbatch is perfect for that role in Strange, and
They pulled him right out of the fucking cover of a Doctor Strange book. They're like, here you go. Like,
it's exactly like the Tony. It's Robert Downey Jr. or Tony Stark. Give him a little bit different facial hair, and you're done. He's tailor fit for the role.
dude, when he was
And
trolling the shit out of Thor in Thor 3, dude, I was like crying, dude. I was like,
that movie is gets a lot of heat from haters too, but the comedy in that movie hit pretty on point as opposed to some other Marvel movies where they feel a lot more forced. The lines, the visual representations of slapstick comedy. In Ragnarok, though, man, it was that was a good time. It's definitely the best of the Thor movies, which is not saying a whole bunch, but it's one of the better MCU movies they've put out in the last 5 years for sure.
oh yeah,
And
dude. I wasn't expecting it to be great, and then I double featured it. I saw it on Justice League weekend,
right,
and so I saw it a little bit late, but it was like I double featured it. When we went and saw Justice League first, and then like we got as soon as we got out of Justice League, Thor was in the theater right next to the fucking where we got out of Justice League. We're oh fucking sweet, we're going into there. Like I even so I was kind of glad. I say this in almost I say this in a few episodes. Like I'm glad I gave Justice League our money and not Thor our money because Justice League needed it more than Thor did.
They sure did. Yeah. Like, you just theater hopped, did you? You just
Yeah, just
bopped
yeah,
across the
because
hall.
dude, I'm not paying all that fucking money to just see one movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna see two, and and we
Justice
did.
still needs your money because I was I was in Walmart the other day and I walked back to the movie section and I totally forgot Thor just came out. So I was walking back there and boy, the Thor shelf was picked clean. There was a couple DVD only copies and nothing else. And then right next to it was the Justice League. And I mean, I couldn't have carried all the Blu-rays out with a basket. There were just stacks of them. And you're like, okay, well, I saw the movie. It was Batman versus Superman quality. I would say
So
maybe.
so when Justice League came out on Blu-ray, people were still buying the shit out of Thor.
Yeah, just as recently as yesterday, I think, or maybe 2 days ago. It's just because I don't have Thor yet. I didn't pick it up yet on Blu-ray, and I totally forgot. So it's like, oh, I'll go grab it, and I can't because I'm not buying a DVD only copy.
Yeah.
I'll buy the Blu-ray copy. But if I want Justice League, there's 72 of them to pick from here, and it's like, okay, I guess you know, people can say what they want about how valid professional critics' opinions are on movies, but it shows what the general public perception of it is when you're swimming in Blu-ray copies of, so far as they want you to believe, the biggest DC universe movie to come out, and you can't find a copy of Thor Ragnarok
There's
in
two critics that I watch for movies. I watch Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic, and I
okay.
watch Andre the Black Nerd. Those are the only two fucking critics I care about. Other than that, dude, fucking, I don't care what the fuck you have to say.
And I haven't heard of either of those critics because I don't really do a lot of YouTubing for critics. I like to read what my peers think about it. I'm not one of those opening night guys. I can't put up with the crowds of people.
I'm
I
not an
can't.
opening night person either. I just saw Black Panther last weekend, so like,
And
uh,
what'd you think?
I loved it. I'm trying to do a film review with the buddy I saw it with, and I've been texting him every day, but he hasn't been getting back to me because like when we were talking on the way back home, like we were saying all sorts of interesting stuff. So like I don't want to reveal anything too much because I want
Sure.
to keep it all for my movie review for it. But I know you've seen it, so I can talk spoilers and shit all day. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. It was fucking like there was some jokes that I thought that were kind of like a miss, but it was from Black Panther's sister. I forget her name.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, but she was joking throughout the whole thing, and she had more jokes that landed than missed. Like, cause like she was joking throughout the whole thing. Like all she does is just roast her brother and just roast everybody around, and that's all. Like all she does is just talk shit or try to be funny. When she's trying to be funny is when she's not, but when she's just when she's just being herself and just being sassy and shit, I thought she was fucking awesome. And then that all the action scenes were incredible. The story was fantastic because everybody loves that story arc of the fucking king that gets overthrown, like the Hamlet, the Lion King, the
True. Yeah.
fucking everybody loves that story arc. So fucking it was cool to
I
see.
like I like seeing Circus without. I like seeing Andy Circus. Period. As himself. I think he's I like seeing him on the big screen now, not on covered with doing mocap. Uh, and it was yeah, it's good. I won't bust out any spoilers here, but
Oh, you
um,
can, dude. I think everybody's seen it by now.
it was
I just don't want to say anything because I want to leave stuff for my movie review. But you can say anything you want about it.
that's right. I'm gonna leave it for a movie review. Uh, but I enjoyed for sure. I'm it's going to be another one of those. It looks like it's going to be another one of those expensive years for us moviegoers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because Fox is still Fox for like another couple years
Sure.
until the deal like actually like finalizes through paper. And like I know some of that through firsthand, not through like business contracts, but I'm going through a workman's comp fucking injury that happened almost 2 years ago. September like 19th or so is gonna be 2 years that I've been going through this fucking workman's comp fucking settlement and shit. And and that's something way small, and that's been a long time. So this is a huge fucking business deal. That's gonna take a while for all that fucking stamping and pencil pushing and all that shit to finalize, and whatever documents to transfer, whatever all that shit does. It's a huge fucking deal. It's way beyond my comprehension.
And they're just going to try and push out as much content that they want to do before that happens.
Yeah, yeah. And there's rumors that Deadpool just might even just stay its own entity even after the merger. They're like because like it just does so like if it. I mean, it's still gonna be a Disney whatever, but it won't be part of the MCU. It will just be its own. Like, but Deadpool can do whatever the fuck he wants. He can like cross over and shit at any time and like whatever.
I mean, it would fit in with his actual comic book persona. You just drop into a universe for a minute and then bounce, which is fine. I like I like that there's that kind of flexibility in his kind of story. I've been reading Deadpool since his first proper run. I've got his first original run from the '90s, and I bought them brand new and read them and put them away. And that character has changed so much, uh, and I can understand why a lot of other comic book fans have such hate on for the popularity. I get that because what made him popular with a lot of people in the last 10 years uh, is not the original character qualities that he had before. I mean, it's exaggerated, but he's turned into much more of a goofball. Whereas, originally he was just kind of wisecracking, but super vicious.
Yeah.
They've made him much more accessible for the younger generation, which is fine
He was like a
because
violent Spider-Man.
he was, yeah, exactly. Um, and his the side characters from his original comics and his relationships with those characters are some of them are pretty tumultuous and the Deadpool and Cable run, like there's some dark stuff in those in those comics. Like he wasn't a friendly person, but it's good to see that the success of the industry in general was able to generate enough interest from the actors who want to play those roles to be able to put forth their own money, like Reynolds did, to get that first one going off the ground. And whatever, if kids want to like him because he eats tacos, that's fine. I don't, I don't care what they like him for. The movie and the one to come, I'm hoping they really got the look down. They really got his abilities in terms of a fighter, especially in that first movie. You really get to see some of his skill, and it's. I'm glad that it happened in an era where the special effects can now keep up with what I read as like a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old kid when I first picked up those comics. I'm like, oh, this guy's incredible.
Oh yeah, dude, it really felt like a comic book movie, like kind of like what like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man's tried to do. It was like really make it feel like an like off the wall fucking like comic book movie. Deadpool did it successfully. Then they didn't even really need the R rating. Like this like because the violence isn't what made it R rating. It was the all the other shit. It was like the pegging and some of the just the language. And they could have made that movie like what's below R, PG-13. They could have made that shit PG-13 and it would have been just as successful, no problem.
And it would have only cut 2.5 minutes off the film.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm looking forward to the new one. But I mean, May's going to be expensive. You got the Han Solo movie coming out. You got Deadpool's going to be in there. Infinity War is not um, too much before that, anyways. So it's gonna. I don't know. I'm really happy that there's so many comic book movies. I know there's theory that this it's gonna make this bubble that's gonna burst. That's fine. I'll watch everyone until it happens. Uh, but give me give me give me high quality special effects and good actors in the roles of those characters. Until then, that's fine, because as much as I really those original Singer X-Men movies started it off. There was definite lack in terms of special effects, and held back some of the feeling of possibility of it being a reality. And in some of those movies now you can do it all, uh, and they are doing it all, and it gives you some sort of validation as like a comic book nerd as a kid in the 90s, going, "Oh, these are cool characters and cool stories," and people are like, "Sure, and comic books are for kids, get out of here." And now those same people are bringing their kids to the movies to see these characters, and
Oh yeah.
they're enjoying it more than their kids are, and it's like, see, you got to look past the colored pencil pictures and the cheesy line here and there, and these stories have real meaning to them, and deal with real feelings, and you weren't giving them a chance because they were comic books. Well, now
Well,
they're all.
well, the characters of comic books, they don't exist in a real life world. That's like, I mean, I'm not saying that in the obvious sense. They exist in the type of world where some stuff only can make sense in a written and drawn fucking world. Like some of the jokes only make sense in text, or like it's like, because if you try to use some of the same jokes, like you try to say them in like a line or whatever in a movie dialogue, it won't work the same. And like they exist in that type of universe, and like characters like Deadpool and stuff like that, they are self-aware that they can only exist in that type of fucking, or they do exist in the type of fuck that type of universe. They don't exist in a uh uh the type of world that we have, where our interaction isn't panel by panel.
Where everything moves uh, in real time.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the consequence of that guy um, driving by this major fight. If he's going to make it to work, he's going to lose his job.
But then to touch back what you're saying about like you bringing your kids the comics and or the movies, whatever, and making them become new fans, and then or like and then people being silly of like in Deadpool for tacos, whatever. I think all that stuff is great. Like whatever character for whatever reason you want, whatever gets you in the store every week or every month or whatever, buying books that you like, and then maybe you'll push beyond that one silly thing you like about that character, and you'll grow more. You'll like more things about that character. Then or that character will have features from other characters, and you'll like that character, and that'll get you buying books from that feature that character. And then you'll fucking learn more about these other characters, and then you'll become a fan of not just one character for liking tacos. You'll become a fan of a whole fucking family of characters and a whole universe of characters off of just one silly thing. So, like, when people bash fans for liking stuff for what they like, it's just fucking silly. And like whatever gets you out into the fucking shops and supporting the shops and supporting the industry, fucking do it, man. Fucking who gives a fuck what everyone else says?
Yeah, and you should feel ashamed because you have be made to feel ashamed because you're wearing a beanie that has Deadpool on it. Yeah, sure. Well, I would have had this thing on my head when I was 13 if they made it, but they didn't. So I'm gonna wear it now. I live in Canada; it's cold anyway, so shut up. Let me wear my Deadpool toque, as they're known here. I know you guys call them beanies; we call them toques. And just mind your business. If you don't have to buy the toque. You don't have to wear it. If you don't have to be a purist about a character you probably don't know much about, and you shouldn't assume that because a character has gotten popular in recent years that person hasn't been a fan since the inception of the character, and just let people be fans of what they want to be fans of. You're absolutely right. And it is better for the industry because without characters like that, I worked at a comic book store here in town, going back maybe 2 years. It's been since I was there. I was only there for 2 years. Deadpool and Harley Quinn were really starting to take over all the merchandising space. In a lot of different types of things, from hats to shirts and all that, and it brought so many kids came in just because of those two characters, and they're there with their dads who are comic book collectors, or their moms who have been into comic books for 20 or 30 years, and they're spending time together, one generation bringing another one into a fandom, and the parents are picking out books for themselves. The parents are helping kids picking out books that they want, and maybe try this book. You might like this character too, and it's exactly, that's how it's supposed to work. It shouldn't just be when I was a teenager or a boy, comic books were for boys and for weird older dudes. That was it, and now it's everybody's kind of on board, and it's from those characters, besides Batman and Superman and Spider-Man, because those have always been the staples. But it's those early X-Men movies got some of the ball rolling, and then with this MCU and the Dark Knight movies, in the mid 2000s and on, it's totally
the first X-Men movie was fucking mind blowing too. You can't mistake the fucking first X-Men movie. That thing was beautiful.
It was great, and if you were a kid or like a teenager, watching the Fox cartoon, it wasn't that long after, it was a handful of years, 5-6 years after that movie came out, still fresh in your head. You're like, okay, the costumes are different, but boy, these characters seem pretty spot on to even the cartoons, even if there's those kids who never read the comics, who just watched the cartoons, Batman animated series and the Spider-Man cartoon and the X-Men. Those movies show up and you're like, all right, well, I see where we're taking this step. We're taking this next step. Those kids were watching the cartoons. Now they're teenagers watching the movies. It was the right timing for that. And it was, that first X-Men movie was actually, it meant a lot to the industry. People don't give it the respect it deserves anymore, because you will go back and watch it and a lot of it doesn't hold up so much, but that is Hugh, right? Hugh Jackman was
Hugh Jackman, and then it gave us Patrick Stewart as Xavier, which was like, whoa, dude, we got Jean-Luc Picard. We got the great fucking Jean-Luc Picard. We got Sir Patrick Stewart as motherfucking Charles Xavier, dude. That like, we were like, everyone was all like, dude, that's a fucking $1 billion actor right there, dude. They're fucking, that's where all the budget for the movie went, fucking getting Sir Patrick Stewart. But no, dude, that whole movie was fucking great, man. Like,
and that casting choice seemed obvious in hindsight. Like you saw him on screen as that character for 2 minutes, and you're like, "Yeah, that's him." Nobody else should have even been considered. I hope they didn't even audition anybody else, because this is the only thing that makes sense to me in my life right now. Yeah, I've still got those movies. They're more watch them on TV movies now because they're on a lot. But that
Those
Hugh
are the
Jack.
type of movies I was trying to explain to Nasser, dude. Like sometimes you just watch some movies on mute and you just listen to music, dude. Like some, yeah, like that. Those are the type of movies now you can just like watch on mute while you're listening to music and have some friends over getting high and shit, dude. Like
Yeah, absolutely. Classics.
you watch some of the fucking cool action scenes. Watch fucking you can watch Wolverine being an asshole to Cyclops in those fucking movies on mute. You can fucking just see it in the expressions on their face and shit. Even with Cyclops wearing those gay ass fucking, I hate Cyclops. Even with Cyclops wearing his either gay ass visor or his gay ass sunglasses, you can see that he's always salty around Wolverine in those movies.
Yeah, I hate Cyclops too, but good choice for the actor. Like
Oh
he
yeah,
was.
absolutely, absolutely.
Do you have you watched any of Westworld?
I never saw the Westworld movie or the sequel like Future World or anything like that.
Right.
But I did watch that HBO series, dude. That was awesome. I
I
watched it
couldn't.
twice.
Not Cyclops. I have to like. It's all I can see is Cyclops walking around
That was
in the.
Cyclops, the that main robot dude.
James Marsden, right? The guy who plays Teddy.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't notice that was Cyclops. Fuck. Now that I'm looking back, just like when Nasser, we were talking about Black Panther and he told me about Michonne being in the movie, I was all like, oh dude, that was Michonne in the fucking that was in the red and shit all the time. And now that I'm looking back, now I can obviously see that it's the same dude that played Cyclops. But
Yeah,
see, yeah, I didn't even notice.
it's those early movies. You've seen them so many times. In that case, for me, where it's been now what 15, 16, 17 years, and this guy pops on screen as a animatronic cowboy, and you're like, fucking Cyclops. It's the only thing that pops into your head. I mean, I've seen him in other things since then, but it'll always be that for me.
You know what's crazy? Like Teddy played more of a fucking convincing human than Bernard did. You know, cause like right away I was like, dude, there's something up about fucking Bernard, dude. And I like, and then like right before they reveal he was a robot, I was all like, yeah, dude, fucking, I knew he was a fucking, I knew he was a robot, dude. Like that was like that dude moved like when he got done fucking his boss or whatever, that like when he was like how he got up and got dressed, he was all like robotic and shit with his movements and like all sorts of shit, like his mannerisms were fucking like too perfect. And I was all like, this I was like, there's something up with him. I fucking He's got to be fucking like part robot at least. Like he's got to have like a chip in his brain or something. But
Yeah, he was. I don't know, maybe my favorite character in the whole show.
but then but right in the beginning of the show, I thought Teddy was a fucking human, you know, and then like maybe like 5 or fucking like 10 minutes into the show, you find out he's a robot or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, like he's part of the fucking thing. I thought he was someone that was visiting Westworld because everybody you get a costume change when you go in there, so you fit in with the scenery and stuff.
Yeah, and then throughout the entire show, he's one of these robots, and he still pulls on your your humanity heartstrings more than almost anybody else does.
Oh yeah, because like uh that quest that they choose to go on, and then like they're starting to become self aware because what's his face? I forget, like the black cowboy. Uh
Oh, yeah, William.
yeah, he's been just trying to fucking just solve this fucking place his whole goddamn life. I was like, what the fuck? And then, so then he starts unlocking the secrets of these robots, which ends up fucking causing Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh, yeah, yeah. With Maeve at the
luckily,
helm.
luckily, Westworld might be underwater, so they have to fucking just go through a fucking elevator and shit to escape, and there could be all sorts of military just ready to gun them down one by one as they come up. So
This is your theory for the upcoming season.
no, the upcoming season's gonna be Samurai World or some shit probably.
Yeah, it looks it starts pretty soon too. I'm pretty I was you mean I watched Game of Thrones because I started watching it when it came out. It's one of those shows that like I feel like I've invested enough time into that I got to finish it out. And honestly, same with The Walking Dead. I'm not really into it anymore, but like I gotta know. I gotta know what's happening.
I haven't watched any of the latest season. I'm just probably gonna binge it once it's done.
Yeah, I've got an Android box, so I watch it. I try to get it when my Android box is working properly. But Westworld was a real surprise to me. It was like I couldn't stop watching it. It held my attention. The actors, the story, everything was good. It was a nice little resurgence for HBO because they'd been putting out some mediocre stuff of late, and I was pretty happy with it. And then when I found out, because I'd never seen the movie, but when I was doing a little research on it, it's like, oh, it makes sense that it's a Michael Crichton a screenplay for the original movie because this is Jurassic Park. This is Jurassic Park with animatronic cowboys. Like it's the same thing. It's
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
I
Yeah, we need a theme park, but not with a violent world like that. We need a Canada world.
yeah, yeah. There's gonna be not a lot of violence unless you're a moose. I don't know. No, that's a cheap Canada shot. It's not really. I saw my
You guys
opportunity.
fuck meese, we fuck geese.
Yeah, it's the geese are the real problem here. I'll tell you, because they're protected. They're a protected animal.
Aw, dude,
So
we try to run them out of here. I think we chased them all to you guys.
they're if you get caught trying to run down a Canada goose with your car, you get a lot of trouble. And they're like vermin here. Now that it's spring, they're all coming back from the south, and they give zero fucks. They
They
just
shit
stand in the
everywhere,
middle of the
dude.
road,
Oh my god.
walk out in traffic, don't care,
Yeah.
and they'll stare you down too. They'll chase.
They'll stare you down, they'll hiss at you, they'll charge at you. I'm like, dude, I will smack you with my fucking groceries. Get the fuck out of my face.
Um, yeah, so we're not allowed to take out our aggression on geese here because it's a federally protected animal.
I don't know if we're allowed to, but I don't know if it's as serious as out there. Like, I probably could get like someone would probably like yell at me or something. Well, like, how are you gonna smack that goose in the face? And someone might even applaud me. I don't even know. Like, you go fucking fight the power.
Yes, sir.
Well, we can about wrap it up from right here.
All right.
It was great having you on. We'll have to do this again sometime. All you guys, be sure to like and comment and subscribe. Uh, Tell us about how much you guys love Iron Man more than War Machine, so we can just tell you that you're wrong, and in the comments. And be sure to tune into the other shows throughout the week. I know we didn't have a social media news last week, but because I ended up working and I couldn't get to recording it, and but I have a really cool one coming up for this week, and you should really tune in. And then Timone answers everything. You guys met my mom last week. You guys won't meet my dad this week unless I call him on the phone or something when we record. The show that Nasser hosts on Fridays, on the road. Tune into all those, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Thanks for having me.
All